It is Brandon Figueroa and Luis Saavedra. Let's take a look at our Corona tail of the tape who invites you to find your beach. Both of them the same age, 1 inch height advantage for Figueroa. They weighed in identical at 121 pounds. Sergio, we can talk about this a little bit later on. Reach advantage squarely in the favor of the man known as the Heartbreaker. And now to meet both fighters, we'll send it to our ring announcer here tonight. Here is Ralph Velez.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you again to Premier Boxing Champions live on FS1, brought to you by Last Round Promotions. This is the next attraction of the evening, 8 rounds of boxing in the junior featherweight division. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout will be Jerry Gandu, Max DeLuca, and Zachary Young. And in the ring, the man laying the law when the bell sounds, referee Thomas Taylor. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he's wearing white trimmed with black and red. He went in officially at 121.2 pounds. His professional record, 7 victories, 2 defeats, 3 of his victories coming by way of KO. From San Luis Potosí, Mexico, presenting Luis Saavedra. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing red trimmed with white. He went in officially at 121.8 pounds. His professional record, 11 victories, no defeats, 8 of his victories coming by way of KO. Fighting out of Westlaco, Texas, presenting the Heartbreaker, Brandon Figueroa.
It is Brandon Figueroa. He is the younger brother of Omar Figueroa, the former world champion. Brandon undefeated at 11-0 despite only being 20 years of age. Taking on Luis Saavedra. Saavedra, having made his United States debut back on November 19th of last year. We are underway. It is Figueroa wearing the red trunks with the white. Wearing the white trunks is Saavedra. And you see in the corner of Brandon Figueroa, it is his father, Omar Sr. And despite the fact that Brandon spent this training camp with Joel Diaz, they spent 2 training camps together. Joel Diaz not here because he has another fight later on in the weekend. Starting off very strong is Brandon Figueroa.
Figueroa, don't let his looks fool you. I mean, he looks like a Calvin Klein model, but he's a killer in there. Just like his brother, they love offense. They love going forward. They switch from southpaw to orthodox. And from what I noticed, Brandon in 11 fights is a little bit more of a patient fighter. Even though he started off strong right now, he's more of a sit back, let you make some mistakes, pick you apart, but he's starting off strong in this round.
A left hook there by Saavedra. For Brandon Figueroa, he has been demonstrating his power in 6 of his last 7 fights. They've all come by stoppage, and his father was adamant, telling us that the key to his success has been his body work, which is why they may change his nickname instead of the Heartbreaker to being the Body Snatcher, because he relies heavily on attacking the body.
Well, right now he's attacking the head right now because he landed a good right hand there, but he's switching from left to right, which is what's throwing off his opponent already. Saavedra is expecting shots from a right-handed stance, from an orthodox, and he's expecting them and getting landed from the other side. That's what's so tricky about fighting a guy that switches.
And Saavedra coming to us from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. His nickname El Siete Barrios, which comes from the same neighborhoods of his hometown. But back comes Brandon Figueroa. He is staying at close quarters, trying to sit down on an uppercut right there to the body. Very nice and crafty by the 20-year-old out of Westlaco, Texas.
Absolutely. It was a great body shot right there. Caught Saavedra's attention. Another good one right there to the solar plexus. Those are the ones that take the wind out of you. So I don't know how much Saavedra's going to be taking of these, if he's going to be taking them every round, but those shots take it out of you.
Under a minute remaining, Brandon Figueroa is isolating Luis Saavedra. He's targeting that body.
Saavedra's moving a little bit. He must have felt that shot to the solar plexus. Right there, a right hook to the other side of the liver.
And Saavedra has picked up 2 straight victories.
Saavedra coming back with some body shots of his own there. A little bit more of arm punching and not really putting his torque in between those shots like Figueroa is, but still nice.
Talk about a brotherly affair. Luis Saavedra, he is actually under the guidance of his father, Fernando Saavedra. So both fathers in the corners. of their respective sons here tonight. Brandon Figueroa in control against Luis Saavedra.
Stop at the bell.
This one is scheduled for 8. And the combination to
Time
end
right
round 1. This is the PBC on FS1. We are back here in Southern California. There you see Luis Saavedra getting instructions from his father, Fernando Saavedra. Let's take a look at 3 things you need to know on Luis Saavedra. Nickname is El Siete Barrios, has gone the distance in 6 of his last 9 pro fights. So Luis Saavedra, quite active in his young career. And it's interesting, Sergio, they said that the fight with Brandon Figueroa, it was mentioned to them twice, but they are thankful that finally on this 3rd occasion, it has come to fruition.
Well, right now he's looking pretty good. I think his corner, Saavedra's corner, his father, that's the thing about having fathers in your corner. You're emotionally attached to your son there. I think I overheard his father say that he's taking some punishment there. It's only the 1st round. Of course, you don't want to see your son getting hit like that, but Saavedra could have a good round if he can land some good shots, get some respect from the aggressive Figueroa.
And Brandon Figueroa hammering away on the body, and then he is mixing in his arsenal to go to the chin and the head region of Luis Saavedra.
Luis, let go of the arm. Let go of the arm.
Thomas Taylor instructing them to let go of the arm, and I like that the referee is allowing them to fight out of the break, Sergio.
Absolutely. I think Thomas is doing a great job in there. Just 2 rounds in, but you got to let him fight in there, especially when you got a guy that switches and is a southpaw like Figueroa. Right there you see Saavedra switching himself, fighting from a southpaw stance.
What a right hook to the body. That was echoing here. Both you and I heard that ringside, Sergio.
Absolutely.
Some good inside work by both fighters, with Brandon being more of the aggressor and applying the pressure.
It's a better round for Saavedra. I think he's landing some good body shots. Like I said, he's not really turning his body into him like Figueroa is. So out of the 2 punchers, I think the one that's being more effective is Figueroa. But Saavedra's still getting his respect in there. Good body shot. See, that's the torque that I'm talking about. You see it like a baseball swing. You throw your hip, your torque, everything into it.
65 seconds left in round 2. Brandon Figueroa.
Body shot there. Saavedra landed a sneaky body shot right there. It was a left hook to the Heartbreaker's right side of his abdominal there.
Well, Brandon, they are moving him along at a steady pace. His father told us that they are hoping by the end of the year maybe get him for a potential youth matchup, but there is no rush necessarily because they want to see him grow and evolve the complete way. So we will see how the future, what it's in store for Brandon Figueroa. But right now he has Luis Saavedra who's in front of him, and he's making him work.
Absolutely. If you're going to fight any Figueroa, you're going to be working there because they're going to be on you from round 1 to the end. Right there, good shot there by Figueroa. Landed a good right hook, but Saavedra comes right back with an uppercut, left hook. More of a slapping punch there. See, there's a difference. I don't know if you hear the difference in the punching, Ray. One's a thump and the other one's a slap.
Well, more of the authoritative shots is coming by way of Brandon Figueroa out of Weslaco, Texas. That's the southern part of Texas on the border, and that ends round number 2. As now we are privileged to be joined alongside by the brother of Brandon Figueroa, the former lightweight champion of the world, that being Omar Figueroa. Omar, welcome to Toe to Toe Tuesdays. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing so far out of your brother?
Well, that's one of the first things I told him is to keep it tight and keep his punches short, you know, and that's one thing he's not doing. He's staying in there too long. I told him get in, get out, and he's not doing what, I guess, well, I don't know what they're telling him in the corner too. I don't know how he feels his opponent, so he's a smart guy, so I just told him to use his brains, and he'll come out victorious.
Is it because he's trying to put on a show for the fans here tonight on PBC on FS1?
He's just stubborn. He's just stubborn.
Well, Omar, we will have to know, when are we going to see you back inside the ring? You are an exciting fighter and always put on quality fights, but when can we expect to see you back inside the ring?
I'll be back hopefully next month.
Perfect.
And, yeah, I don't know when exactly, but I'll be back early this summer.
Well, you know what? That appeases a lot of fight fans. Round number 3, this one is scheduled for 8. Ray Flores, Omar Figueroa, Sergio Mora. As you see, Brandon Figueroa going back to the conventional as he shoots a right cross down the middle, Sergio.
Good shot there. You see the sweat flying when the punches land. Saavedra fighting from the southpaw stance there.
And Another hook to the body there.
Body shots.
Both going toe-to-toe. Saavedra mixing it in with a sweeping left hook of his own.
Mouthpiece comes flying out. I can't tell if it was Saavedra or...
That's not my brother.
Okay, so Saavedra with the mouthpiece out.
Omar quick to point that one out for us and the viewers at home.
Well, I'll tell you what, when the mouthpiece comes out like that, it's usually because you're really tired. Considering we're still early in the third round, that must have been a body shot that Saavedra felt.
It has
And
been
there
a
you
ton
go,
of hooks. Look at
thumping
that
body shot.
right hook to the body of Luis Saavedra. And an item that your father, Omar Sr., talked about, he will see Thomas Taylor. He's going to go and rinse it off, and Luis Saavedra gets the mouthpiece in, is that you guys focus and are so conscientious on attacking the body, Omar.
That's one thing that, I mean, my philosophy is if it hurts us, it's going to hurt them too. So that's why we keep in mind to attack the body. And I mean, I'd rather get knocked out to the head than to the body, that's for sure.
Oh, I think anyone would.
Anyone that knows what a body shot feels like, at least.
That's what I tell people all the time. We could take headshots for 11, 12 rounds. It's the body shots that just sneak up on you, and you don't want to get hit to the body, especially to the center of your body, the solar plexus.
And Omar, we're seeing that the hands of Luis Saavedra are coming down more as your brother continues to hammer away on the body of Luis Saavedra. So it appears that the head is opening itself up for your brother.
He just, like I said, he has to keep his punches short. If he's on the inside especially, he has reach advantage, the height advantage. So when he's on the inside, he has to work, and when he's done, he has to get out. But he's not doing that. Like I said, he's stubborn.
We're starting to see some blood now pouring from the nose of Luis Saavedra. Brandon Figueroa in control of this fight here through the first 2 rounds and change, Sergio.
Figueroa went from lefty to righty right there. Now he's back into the southpaw stance. He must feel comfortable in that southpaw stance. Is he a southpaw? Well, naturally, what is he? Is he a right-hander or a left-hander?
We're both right-handed, but I don't know if it's just I feel more comfortable as a left-handed standing southpaw as well.
It's very, very confusing, man, because we go in there, we study what we expect to see, and then all of a sudden you start switching.
And a left hook to the body by Luis Saavedra. And actually, incidentally, this is the first fight outside of Texas for Brandon Figueroa. We'll come back with more PBC on FS1. Brandon Figueroa, Luis Saavedra continue to be joined alongside by Omar Figueroa. This is the PBC on FS1. We are back here in Southern California. Luis Saavedra being attended to by his corner. No blood pouring from the nose. And let's take a look, Sergio, at the shot that may have started out that bleeding for Luis Saavedra.
Saavedra fighting off Brandon there. But I think the one doing the heartbreaking here is all Brandon with some good shots over the top, uppercuts, body shots.
That was the punch that opened up Luis Saavedra as Brandon Figueroa continues to move forward. And you know what, Omar, are you surprised that your brother is going to southpaw? Because I watched his last 5 to 6 fights, having been here ringside for him, and he hasn't done that much. And now we're seeing it more in abundance.
I have no idea. I mean, in training, we do that all the time, but I don't know how or why he does the southpaw thing. I personally do it because I feel more comfortable. Plus, I feel like I have more power as a southpaw as well. So I feel maybe, his strong hand is up front, which is right hand. And I don't know, it confuses the fighter as well.
And a nice left cross that landed, smacking the head back of Luis Saavedra. And let's take a look at how the fans scored it on the Throwdown scoring app. They have your brother ahead, 30-27. And Omar, that has to bring a smile to your face.
Well, he should have had this guy out already, so.
A tough big brother there, Omar. Oh, my goodness.
Figueroas. The Figueroas. They don't want to go past 3 or 4.
No, you don't get paid by the hour, that's for sure. And a nice left hook to the body. And Brandon really sitting down in his punches more, Sergio.
What I notice about Brandon now, he's fighting in angles. He's not just standing in front of him now. At the end of the last, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd round.
All right, stop, no punch.
At the end when the bell rang, he pivoted to the right. So that's what he needs to start doing, because Saavedra's already accustomed to having this rough guy in front of him. So he needs to start fighting from angles, Brandon does.
And Omar, your brother, Brandon, told us that you are the toughest guy he's ever faced in a fight or in the gym. And I'm sure that's not just when you guys were kids.
No, I mean, I've been up
Guys, watch
against
the head.
some of the best fighters in the world, so I know what it takes, and I know I have to test them myself. And you know, if I had an older brother, I wish he would have been like I am with Brandon. I try to help as much as possible, especially mentally. I know that's a big part of the game. And, well, like I said, he's stubborn, so I have to try and break through to him.
Well, he's in control of this fight as we are 43 seconds remaining in round number 4. And boxing is in your blood. Your father loves boxing, opened up a gym down there in South Texas. You are a fighter. Brandon is a fighter as well. And incidentally, he told us that if he was not a fighter, he would be a robotics engineer.
My brother's weird. I mean, he goes from all sorts of the spectrum, and he's everywhere. I don't know if, but I never knew that he had an interest in robotics. At least he mentioned engineering, but
I would think that he would be more interested in modeling or acting with those blue eyes, man. I mean, he's a pretty boy in there, but he fights like a tough guy.
That's what he has another brother for.
And that is the end of the 4th round. We'll come back with more of Omar Figueroa's. Brandon Figueroa continues in his action here. This is the PBC on FS1. We're back here, PBC on FS1, Studio City, California. Brandon Figueroa and Luis Saavedra. And we are with Omar Figueroa, the former lightweight champion of the world. And Omar, despite the fact that your father is in the corner of your brother Brandon, you guys have been training with Joel Diaz. This is his 2nd training camp with Joel. How much has Joel helped you guys out?
Well, Joel doesn't, his philosophy is just, you know, normally he gets fighters that are already made, that have already been training for a long time. So he says he just wants to exploit our strengths and make them better. And, you know, our weaknesses also work on them. So he doesn't want to change our style. He works with our style, and he just tries to make us better.
Some good hooks there by your brother, Brandon Figueroa, against Luis Saavedra, fighting at close distance, Sergio, as we're seeing more uppercuts coming by way of the Westlaco native.
I want to touch on this Joel Diaz comment, because I've known Joel for several years now, and
at the top of the head,
he's
Brandon.
an amazing trainer. I'm glad that he's getting the respect he's getting, because he has put in his work. And to work with, you know, fighters like Tim Bradley and all the way down to Figueroa, I mean, he has a wealth of experience, and Joel Diaz is a hell of a trainer, and people should recognize it.
And Omar, it was actually your father who sent you guys to Joel. He said that you guys needed to get out of South Texas and the Rio Grande Valley, that area, and he was the one who said, you know what, I want you guys to relocate and train under Joel Diaz. How did that all come about?
Well, I guess what we needed was to get away from him for a while, because, you know, training with your father, it's one of those typical, you know, father-son relationships in sports. It gets to a point where it just doesn't work anymore, and so we needed something new. So we heard about Joel, and we came and tried it out, and we loved it.
And it is paying dividends so far, Sergio, as we are witnessing the condition of Brandon Figueroa. He is continuing to look just as sharp as he did in the 5th round compared to the 1st.
Absolutely, and he's fighting a guy that's not he's not a pushover in there either. Saavedra came to fight. I mean, it seems like he's fighting Figueroa off, because Figueroa's just putting so much pressure on him. As a taller man, you would think that Figueroa will stand on the outside, use his distance and leverage, but that's not the Figueroa way. With or without Diaz in his corner.
No doubt about that, Sergio. Omar, what can your brother do in order to get Luis Saavedra out of there? You said he should have dispatched of him in the 3rd round, but it is Luis Saavedra. He's a very tough customer. He has withstood a lot of punishment in this fight.
That's the thing. It's keeping his distance and choosing his shots more carefully. I think he would have him out already. Right now, he's smothering his punches. He has long arms. He has long reach. So if he maintained that distance that he should be, he would, I think, be landing even crisper punches, and he'd be, you know, choosing his shots more carefully.
I think that comes with the experience. With 11 fights, you know, you start really finding yourself about your 18th, 20th, 19th, 20th fight. Right now, Figueroa is still learning on the job. I mean, even though he does have a wealth of experience and comes from a fighting family, you know, every fight you learn something. You know, right now he's finding out that the southpaw stance, staying there for so long, is not being effective. Maybe he should go back to his orthodox stance.
Stop at the bell, gentlemen.
Brandon Figueroa in complete control as we conclude round 5.
Right there.
Omar, thank you so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you back inside the ring very soon. And I'm sure you are going to be brimming with confidence with your brother.
Yes, sir. I will. Thank you for having me.
This is the PBC on FS1. We're inside inside the Sportsman's Lodge, Studio City, California for PBC on FS1 Toe-to-Toe Tuesdays. Ray Flora and Sergio Mora. Great to speak with Omar Figueroa, the former lightweight world champion, who said he'll be back hopefully by the end of May, if not by early June. And you want five fans are saying, yes, please come back, Omar.
Absolutely. Omar has a good head on his shoulder. You would think what the Figueroas are doing boxing because they're just so smart and likable kids. And well, they're not even kids. They look like kids. They look like baby-faced assassins in there. But that's the thing. They're so likable in there. But they're killers.
You know what? It is without question that they are a fighting family. Brandon got into the gym when he was 8 years old. He recollects going to the gym and watching his father and his brother when he was 3 years of age. So boxing is sort of embedded into their DNA.
See, there's one thing I finally seen from Figueroa there. He's just taking his time. He actually feinted there. I mean, that you never get to hear that word feint when you're watching a Figueroa fight because it's just so relentless with the pressure there. But if he can stand back, get the leverage that his brother was talking about, that's where you're going to get find the power and get the torque that you need to land the hard shots.
Well, here's how the fans have it scored on throwdown, scoring at 50-45, all in favor of Brandon Figueroa.
Good uppercut there by Saavedra, make the sweat fly from Figueroa's head, but obviously it just got him more mad there. Good body shot there by Brandon coming back.
Brandon Figueroa swarming Luis Saavedra,
no punch.
who is joining us from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. But it is the Brandon Figueroa show who is stalking and trying to inflict and impose his will upon Saavedra.
It's pretty amazing that you haven't had any head clashes right now because there's been so much switching between both fighters, especially Figueroa. And considering how aggressive he is and how he likes to have his head in there, no cuts, no warnings, no anything. So he's fortunate. And
Sergio, what can Luis Saavedra do to try to change the tide of the fight in his favor?
I'll be honest with you. Look, this is where you got to be clever with things. He's not going to outwork the bigger Figueroa. So I know people don't like to hear this, but you got to get dirty. You got to get dirty when a guy is really in control like that. You got to get dirty. Start hitting him low, start hitting him behind the head. Let the referee warn you for stuff like that because you got to make this fight dirty because it is a fight.
And Saavedra gets hammered with a straight left down the middle. Brandon Figueroa remains active and is putting together his punches.
And to elaborate what I just said, I know that it sounds bad to say you got to get dirty on another fighter, but a lot of fighters do that. Bernard Hopkins is one of the king at it because it takes you out of your element. When you're in control of a fight, I don't care if it's 5 rounds to 0 or 11 rounds to 0, a body shot, a shot that goes a little bit low, those get your attention and you don't recover from those that easy. And what do you get? Just a warning. So that's what I mean by that.
Veteran tactics is what Luis Saavedra needs to do, and he has to hurry up because he is down significantly, at least to us here at ringside, as we hone in on the final moments of round number 6. Brandon Figueroa, undefeated at 11-0, looking to keep his record perfect against Luis Saavedra.
Good uppercut there by Saavedra, but not enough leverage to back up Figueroa.
This is the PBC on FS1.
The
in Studio City, California for PBC on FS1. Luis Saavedra, as they are working on his nose that continues to bleed and swell. And Sergio, when you are in that predicament, how much does that impede your breathing and how you go ahead and approach a round, especially in the final stages as we have 2 more rounds left?
Well, the blood starts getting into your throat depending how profusely you're bleeding from your nose, but I'll tell you what bothers you even more. Sometimes when you get Vaseline in your eye or you get teary-eyed because you got hit right in the center of the nose, that affects you just as much as anything else. They're the little things. Or when you get hit dead center into your earlobe, it gets numb a little bit. These are the things and the shots that people don't really consider.
And don't forget, be interactive with us on social media. Use the hashtag PBC on FS1. Use the hashtag PBC on FS1 and follow us at social media at Premier Boxing and also at FS1 and partake in the conversation online. Right now it is Brandon Figueroa in complete control. Sergio, what are you hoping to see out of Figueroa? Because he's looking good, but it looks like he has shown it during the course of his last 7 fights, with 6 of his last 7 victories coming in by way of stoppage. But how can he get that coveted finish?
We got to ask Joel Diaz. I think Joel Diaz would probably know more than me, but from what I would say, but see, this is the thing. Styles make fights, right? And I don't have that style. I'm not a pressure fighter. From what I see, I would turn Figueroa and have him use his lengthy leverage, and get angles. They're very athletic fighters, so that's what I'll have them doing. But instead, they fight like the shorter men.
100 seconds left in round number 7 here. Also, Sergio, out of Brandon, and he's doing what he wants inside the ring, but we're not seeing a lot of the jab. In his previous fights, we've seen the jab, and everything has been set up with the jab, whereas here, he's sitting down in his punches, and he's just throwing power shots, and he seems to be fascinated with this power, which I understand, but still, it could be costing him the stoppage.
Well, listen, when you're a young fighter, just like Brandon is, this is exactly what you're going to be listening to. You're going to watch your fight. You're going to hear comments like yours and mine, and that's what's going to make him learn
Watch
that
those
he
heads,
needs to
watch
actually
the heads.
get distance, and that's where he's going to get his leverage. Like when his brother was here, he said the exact same thing. He doesn't understand. Omar didn't understand why his brother is fighting like this right now.
Typically, Brandon uses his height and his distance and his reach, but he's wanted to go ahead and make this a very close, from a distance standpoint, fight. And he shoots that straight left down the middle that connects two straight lefts that have found their mark on the chin to Luis Saavedra.
And let's not take anything away from Saavedra. He's a tough fighter. He's coming here with absent-minded. We heard his story. I mean, we know he's 7-2. We know that he doesn't have a losing record. Hey, he wanted to come out here and shock the world. You never know. I mean, he's not winning this fight. He's getting dominated by a bigger and better fighter, but he's still in there throwing.
Well, Saavedra told us the key for him is he needed to start fast, and he didn't start fast at all, and I think it's costing him, and that is likely due to the body punching of Brandon Figueroa as we near the final moments of round number 7. This one is scheduled for 8. One more round remaining.
Listen for the
it
bell,
is the
guys.
PBC on FS1 Toe-to-Toe Tuesdays here in Studio City, California.
Time!
Welcome back to the PBC on FS1. Brandon Figueroa in control. As you see there, his father, Omar Sr., speaking with him right for Sergio Mora. What do you think they're telling Brandon in the corner?
Well, at this point, I don't think he should go for the stoppage or do anything out of character like that. I think he should just cruise into a decision. But if the father sees something, maybe he can try it, but don't get crazy. Don't go in there trying to do something that you know you're probably going to get hit with something. I mean, you're ahead comfortably on the scorecards. Finish the fight.
And let us not forget that Brandon is still in the infancy of his pro career. 11 wins, no losses. 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Turned pro on May 9th of 2015. So he's approaching 2 years as a professional. And the fact that he has such a high knockout percentage and is looking solid and getting television exposure, I think speaks volumes.
Absolutely. And sometimes the TV makes a fighter get a little bit more brave than he should be. You know, it throws the game plan out the window, the strategy that you guys had planned. You just hear the oohs and the ahs of the crowd and the cameras and the lights, and you just go back to what you resort for, and that's a fighter.
And Brandon Figueroa is starting strong here in this 8th round.
No punch.
You can tell that on his mind by his body language, he wants that finish.
Yeah, he does. He started really, as soon as the bell rang, he came looking for blood.
Brandon Figueroa, close distance. They are going toe-to-toe fighting. Close distance here. Brandon Figueroa with that left hook. Also, Sergio, I know that he's had his father, Omar Sr., in his corner before, but in recent memory, it has been Joel Diaz. Could Joel not being in the corner be affecting him at some point when it comes to finishing this fight strong?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has enough time, Diaz does, to fix whatever he sees in Figueroa. Right now, if I was in Figueroa's corner, or in the gym actually before this fight, the strategy would have been to touch your opponent, then get an angle and power. Because right now, Saavedra already got accustomed to the hard shots that are coming right in front of him.
Stop.
At the end of the last round, I didn't get enough time to say this, but you finally seen Figueroa give an angle. Angles is what's going to surprise his opponents from now on, because he's already fighting more experienced fighters, tough guys. You know, guys like Saavedra, they ain't going to go anywhere.
And also, to his credit, Sergio, we're seeing a new wrinkle to the game of Brandon Figueroa. He's fighting more like his brother Omar, who likes to have these firefights in close distance and blood and guts affairs. Now, granted, Brandon isn't paying the price for fighting at close distance, but I think we're seeing a new wrinkle to the game of Brandon Figueroa, maybe showing that, hey, I can fight on the inside when I need to.
Well, he's going to learn real fast the more experienced fighters that he fights, because, you know, there's other guys that have fire behind the inside fighting as well. You know, bigger fighters, stronger fighters. Mouthpiece comes flying out of there. I don't know if it was from Figueroa or Saavedra.
Under 30 seconds remaining. Thomas Taylor sees it. He picks it up right now. He's waiting for a momentary lapse in action to be able to put it back in. Brandon Figueroa in control, only 20 years of age, will likely improve his record to 12-0 as he's been in complete domination of Luis Saavedra out of Mexico. And there we see Thomas Taylor, the veteran referee, will go ahead and put in the rinse off the mouthpiece. And placing within the mouth of Saavedra.
Ready?
I'm surprised he got a break in between action to actually do that, because when it comes to Figueroa, they're punching and punching.
Stop.
Final stages, Brandon Figueroa trying to finish off Luis Saavedra,
Time,
and we
right
will
there.
go to the scorecards.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Max DeLuca scores the contest 78-74, while judges Jerry Cantu and Zachary Young have it 79-73, all for your winner by unanimous decision. And still undefeated, the Heartbreaker, Brandon Figueroa.
Brandon Figueroa elevates his record to 12-0. He remains perfect during the course of his nearly 2-year career. Looking forward to seeing what is next for Brandon Figueroa.